Look, it's gigantic. What is going on here? Why is it so much bigger? Hello folks, welcome to the Netcruzer RC. Alright, the TEKNO EB48.3, I showed this off a week or two ago. It's ready to race. At least I think it is. It's currently untested, never really been driven by me, but I have all the electronics in. It seems like it's ready to go. I want to talk to you a couple things about this, as well as where I'm going this week. I will be going to the Bego RC Raceway in Napierville, Quebec. It'll be for round one of their 2020 series, so this will be the first time that I ever drive on that track. I do have videos on my channel if you're curious to go see that track, Quebec Classic 2019. This is my 8-scale race buggy. I'm going to retire my Arrma Typhon from racing and start using this. This is the TEKNO EB48.3, same body and everything by the previous owner. I just put some of my own logos and stuff on it. Did put in the systems that I told you about previously, so we got in the Rocket Sky RC 2250 kV motor, and I put in the Hobbywing XR8 SCT ESC. And for batteries here, I will be talking quite a bit about batteries in this video. As you see here, I put on IC5 connectors. I'm kind of transitioning to IC5 for a lot of my bashers, and I figured this would be a good chance to reuse some of those 4S batteries on a race car too, dual purpose. So I got a Spektrum smart battery for this. I went for a 50C hard case LiPo. I will take it out and show you a bit more about the batteries in a second because I have a little bit to talk about that. But overall, I think we're ready to go. I can power it up here and just show you how smooth it is. Because it is sensored, it seems to work very well. Did hook up my Wi-Fi programming card to this speed control. This is the XR8 SCT that I showed you previously. And I did upgrade the firmware, so it was 2 versions below current, so I upgraded the firmware. I programmed the BEC, which is the battery elimination circuit. That's kind of old terminology, but they still call it that now, which is how much power runs to your servo. Out of the box, the ESC is programmed for 6 volts. I put it up to 7.4 because this Savox servo is a SC1267 steel gear. It can take 7.4 volts. I gave it the ideal voltage, which makes it stronger and faster. So that's great for racing. I did throw a little bit of turbo into it as well, just for top end additional timing. And I just left the can on here where it was where I got it. This was a used motor, so I don't know. It is clocked, but I don't have my own motor analyzer yet, but I did just buy one. It will be here in the next week or so. But for gearing, I'm not sure what my final drive ratio is because I don't know what the ratio is. I'll have to look it up in the book, but I put on the 18 tooth pinion, and that's the same pinion that the previous owner was running. And if I decide that it's not fast enough, I've got a 19 tooth, and if it's over geared, then I'll probably just turn the timing down, turn the boost down, or just turn the end point down on my throttle. It's going to be a learning curve, this first race. I do not expect to do very well. I'm kind of nervous about it because it's a big track, 8 scale. I haven't raced an 8 scale in a long time. It's also in Quebec. I cannot hold a conversation in French, so there's going to be a bit of a language barrier there as well. But I think it's going to work out quite well because I am on their team, and we should be all trying to help each other out. So I'm looking forward to a great weekend of racing. Let me get this powered on, and I will show you how it runs. I got my Sanwa radio here. This is my MT4, and just going to plug in my battery. Most of my other 10-scale race machines, I use bullet connectors, 4mm or 5mm bullets. I'm all 4mm, but some people prefer 5mm. I've never seen a 4S race pack that actually uses bullet connectors. They all have battery connectors. Anyway, this is a more efficient run, bigger connector, better current load than any I've ever had before. So I do quite like the IC5 connector. This is the new connector. It also has the ability to send telemetry back and forth if you had a smart setup, which this doesn't because it's a race car. It's kind of superseded XT90 for me, and I will be putting that connector in most of my higher end machines. Radio, so Sanwa radio. The radio box is in the back, and inside of this I actually was able to fit in my transponder and my receiver all in one. So I took one of my small little antennaless receivers out of my on-road car. That's the ARX 482R. I really like those receivers. There's no downside to them versus getting the real Sanwa receiver. So very happy with that, and I was able to fit everything in nice and clean. Overall, I think the wiring is very clean with this. You can't really see it that well over that connector, but The only thing that worries me is how tight the tolerances are. If I run into a bit of a problem or something shifts a little bit, the wiring leads on the motor are very close to the center drive shaft, as well as just moving things around. If I need to move something out of here, all the wiring is directly soldered on without much room to move. So I'm going to have to take the ESC plate off or remove the whole motor if I need to service something. But overall, I think it's a pretty clean job. 4S LiPo. I did go through the calibration procedure, so you do get a piece of paper with the speed control. It's very important that you calibrate, as well as after I did the firmware upgrade and tweak some of the settings through the Wi-Fi module in the Hobbywing app, I had to recalibrate again. It lost its calibration, so do it after you do a firmware upgrade. But this is how smooth it is. This is the advantage of having a censored machine, is that you can go super slow. And that's how fast my steering is. Hard to see with the wheels on. Anyway, I think we're ready to go. Turn this off. Not really sure what it's going to be like for heat level or anything, but we'll adjust that as we go along. All right. I want to talk about, before this gets too long, I want to talk about batteries, because that's the big kind of change this time versus what I've ever had before. Previously, on my e-buggies, I ran Genzace. Normally, I always race Genzace batteries, or SMC. I have had a couple of SMCs in the past. You can get SMC batteries from Bego Racing. Got to get a plug-in there for them sometimes. But I really wanted to try out these Spektrum smart batteries. I have previously purchased one of these a few months ago. This was my first Spektrum smart battery I got, which was a 2S, just their cheapest 2S hard case LiPo. It's a 30C. It was really cheap. It was like $50. Cheap for a LiPo battery that's hard case and not, you know, China. The thing that's cool about the Spektrum smart batteries is there is a telemetry and a data logging chip inside of them. It tracks cell usage, overheating, capacity. It allows you to set a timer on this for if you charge it up and then you forget to use it and you want it to automatically go into storage mode. It has like its own resistance in there where it can lower the voltage down slowly. It takes a long time if it's fully charged, but it will eventually drain it down to that 3.8 volts a cell if you set it. Out of the box, they come with all that stuff disabled. It'll track the data, but you don't get to see it unless you actually buy one of their chargers or their little telemetry module that allows you to see the smart data that's in these batteries. All right, Spektrum Smart Batteries. I'm going to try my first one, Spektrum Smart 2S. This is their cheapest one. It's on sale right now, $55 Canadian, IC5 connector, but these have a chip in them which allows them to self-discharge after a couple days, or it's programmable. Out of the box, it does not have that enabled, but we're going to try it right now. So we're going to hook it up to this smart charger, I guess, and enable that feature and see how that works.
I'm going to go into the smart. Oh, I gotta go back.
It picks it up as a Smart 2S.
And you go to the smart menu.
Okay.
And then you go auto storage is off.
Off. Okay.
And
off
you
by
can turn
default.
it on, and then
and then okay, you've got hours.
So you said 48.
Let's give it like 76. Give it like 3 days, because I don't care. I mean, sometimes I leave my stuff a long time. So yeah.
76.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Super cool.
So that's where it's programmed. It's programmed to go in 76 hours to 3.8 volts per cell.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, and that's it?
And that's it.
Done.
It's done. And then I go to back, and
Wow.
she is programmed for you.
Wow, cool. But overall, I gotta say, I've been very impressed with this. For the same price as a normal battery, you get all that smart functionality, which is pretty cool. So the actual IC5 connector has a little pin in the middle, and originally I thought that that was for kind of smart balancing, so that if you buy one of their smart chargers, you can just plug this in and it does balancing over that connector. That is not how it works. It does not balance over that connector. Spektrum has finally updated some of their original press materials that came out with these batteries, because they did originally say that you could just plug this in and it would balance. That's not true. You still have to use the legacy balance port. The only thing that you're getting out of the smart charger system that they offer is by plugging this in, it can see from that plug on the connector, it knows what type of battery it is, what its capacity is, and what the ideal charge settings are. So you don't have to worry about that stuff. As well as that plug there is what allows you to get the telemetry data that's on that chip inside of it. So it allows you to see things like how many times you've charged it and what the timer is like for when it's going to go into storage mode, that type of stuff. This is a pretty real number. It's a really 30C constant. I really have no problems with that. This was performing like a 50C pack, really, by what I was getting for punch level out of it. I was pretty impressed with the quality of this. So for my race pack, I wanted to get one of the better quality ones, so I got the 50C version. And this was a little bit of a pricier battery, and I'm pretty impressed with the design of this. It's fairly small for a 4S LiPo pack. It is smaller than my previous Gens Ace 4S LiPo for a 5,000 milliamp hour 50C 4S. Also note that the wiring comes out of the side here, so for something like an X-Max or something that has like that clamping top thing, you have no wires coming out the top. So and this kind of bends out of the way easily. So overall, I think the design of this 50C pack is excellent. Well, the race that I'm going to, they have a very limited electricity system, so you're supposed to bring a generator or something to charge on your own, and I don't really have that set up yet. I wanted to get another battery just to have a little bit more power on hand for race packs, so I didn't have to worry about fully recharging a battery after each round. So I went to the hobby shop today, and I ordered this online. I got the 4S 30C pack. I wanted to pair it with this 30C pack because you can pair a 2S and a 4S together for 6S LiPo for some of my bashers. Something like the Infraction or the Limitless. I can run it on 6S by combining these two together. I see no downside to that. As long as they have matched C ratings and capacity ratings, that's okay. That would be the same thing as running a 3 and a 3. You can do it with a 2 and a 4. Makes no difference. So I got this. I mean, tell me in the comments below if you think I'm wrong, but I think that's how it works. So I got this 30C pack, and yeah, you've probably already noticing it, but look, it's gigantic. What is going on here? Why is it so much bigger? I took it out of the box and I was going to go charge it, and I was like, wait a second. Why is this 30C battery so much bigger than the 50C battery? That doesn't make any sense. So I'm pretty disappointed. I'm sure it still performs nicely. 30C on this one performed very well, but it's the size that I can't deal with. So I'm probably going to end up exchanging this for a 50C again, because I really like the style and design of this one. It'll work for all of my cars, race cars and bashers. This one will not, because it's so tall and the wiring comes out the top. So for something like an X-Max or anything else that has that kind of clamping style battery tray, you would have to try and maybe put it on its side, but even then, it's a fat boy. So yeah, not impressed. You're saving 20 to 30 bucks by getting this, even if that, and it's just overall a much larger design with wiring coming out the top. Now, if you need a top wiring battery, get the 30C, but I just wanted to show you this because a lot of the press materials, when you look at this stuff, the website that I got it from, they use the same product image for both. They had a shot like this, where you get this, where you see that, and really it's like this. So that makes a big difference. When you're shopping for batteries online, always try and look to see if they have the dimensions and a real picture, because I kind of got screwed here. I'm going to have to go and return this if they let me. Just wanted to show you this. 50C and the 30C, very different from each other. Get a 50C, I guess. Point was, TEKNO EB48.3 is ready to go, and I am starting to get some of these Spektrum smart batteries. The 30C I wasn't really that afraid to buy as a 4S because I knew that this one as a 2S outperformed what I was expecting. So I was going to get the 30C 4S, but then I see that it's huge and it has wiring coming out the top and it's not going to fit in my bashers and my race car. So that one's going to have to go back, and then I'll get another one of the nice 50C batteries. As well as they do make a 100C version. Now, the 100C version is a bit more of a premium, another $10 or $20 on top for that little bit of extra punch. My experience with batteries that are rated at 100C plus constant rating is that, yes, they do have more initial punch when they're brand new, but that comes at a cost of longevity in the battery. Not for runtime, but for lifespan. So I find that the cells degrade a little bit quicker with the higher C rating batteries you get. So if you buy a really nice fancy race pack, like a 120C race pack, you're going to get 1 year out of that, in my experience, before it starts to puff and then get high internal resistance and then kind of crap out on you. So I find personally that a 30 to 70C constant rating is kind of the sweet spot. For something like a little 2S runaround car, a 30C battery is fine. For a race car, you probably want to get a 50 to 70C constant rating. Also, keep in mind that this is kind of a magic voodoo stuff, this C rating. Some of the more North American brands like Spektrum and Venom, you'll find that they use a lower C rating. So something like a 30C, or on a Venom, they tend to market a lot of their stuff as 20 or 25C. If that was coming out of China, they would probably market it as a 50C battery. So just kind of keep that stuff in mind as well. All right, guys. I'm going to end this video here. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. As always, thanks for watching.